All right, everybody, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today, I'm gonna dig right in and talk to you all about my last part of my personal fitness journey, which was a mini cut. Mini cuts are something that I feel like are overused these days. You know, you hear the word mini cut, it's like, ooh, exciting, I can do this quick thing and I can make a whole bunch of progress in a short amount of time. The whole idea of a mini cut in and of itself is exciting. It's like, ooh, short amount of time, rapid results. It's kind of like, oh, the next 12-week transformation. But the problem is, it's not what it's designed for at all. What a mini cut is supposed to do is it's supposed to make it so that you can continue on with your bulk, or you can basically just clean things up while you're spending the majority of your time not dieting. I repeat, mini cuts are essential to make sure that you're not dieting often. So the idea is flawed when you're doing it multiple times over and over again throughout the year. I would say doing it maybe twice a year at most. Any more than that and it's not a mini cut anymore. Now you're just spending your time dieting. I have not been in a dieting phase since 2015. So we're talking like years. I literally have not cut at all in that long, which is why it was time basically to clean things up. I'm getting ready to compete next year. The idea is you want to start a competition prep in bodybuilding at a good starting point, because dieting in and of itself is stressful. So if you start a dieting phase in a good spot and you have less to lose, basically your end result will be better. But if you're always dieting, your body's constantly, you just don't have a chance to recover. So I intentionally spent the last several years bulking or maintaining, or gaintaining as I like to call it. And now it's time to clean things up to get ready to start a prep at the end of the year. This mini cut, just by definition, we're looking at 4 to 8 weeks in and out. I spent the whole 8 weeks doing it. And then as soon as it was done, I got right back into a surplus. So like we're looking 8 weeks in, I'm back to gaining, back to eating to gain weight every single month, basically, because that's how I'm going to have the opportunity to gain muscle. And yes, that comes with body fat, but you can't have one without the other, especially when you get into the more advanced stages of your training. The first year or two, like mini cuts shouldn't even happen, like the first year or two that you're into your training. After that, then it's maybe a consideration. So anyway, everything went pretty well with it. Very well, actually. It helps when you've dieted before, because dieting is a skill. So I'll say that I definitely had that on my side. But also what I had on my side was that I have not dieted in literally 3-4 years. So when it came to time for my body to drop by being in a caloric deficit, it responded super fast. I think I lost somewhere between 10 to 15 pounds roughly. I wasn't like really trying to be too exact with things. The idea was to just drop a bunch of weight, be in a steep caloric deficit, get as much as I could in 8 weeks, and then get out and get back to a little bit of a slower gain. So that way, come the fall time, I'll be in a good spot to start a competition prep and then become stage ready at the end of that. So basically, that's what I've been going through. The other thing that I would say is an advantage to not dieting all the damn time is that when it comes time to diet, you're able to stick to your plan and your body responds better to it. So you might be saying to yourself, well, you know, like I can diet often because I can stick to my plan. I'm a disciplined person, and you are correct. Like if you're disciplined, you can stick to a diet. If you're skilled at dieting, you can stick to any sort of cut and stick to your macros or your plan or whatever. But here's the bottom line. If your body is constantly in a state of perpetual diet stress from jumping from one cut to the other, physiologically speaking, like your hormones, everything, your body's just not going to be as amenable. You know, you're going to have higher stress levels. Your hormone profile in general is not going to be fully recovered. Your metabolism is just not going to have a chance to upregulate itself. Your body's mechanisms basically should be optimized for performance, first of all, if your goal is to continue to gain muscle over time. I would say you want to give yourself a bare minimum of 6 months of not only not dieting, but giving yourself a chance to be at or even above maintenance before you even consider some sort of a short-term aggressive dieting phase. Outside of that, you're looking at like a maintenance phase or a long-term cut, which is a little slower. But when it comes to these rapid in and out cuts, as exciting as they are to be used as a tool, and they're to be used when you haven't been dieting for a long period of time, and that way they're super successful and your body and your mind are able to handle it. And again, I can't stress this enough. It doesn't matter if you're mentally ready to be disciplined and adhere to a mini cut 100%. If you have not given your body the break that it needs, and your mind actually the break that it needs, you're gonna be more stressed out than you should be during that short period of time, and it could potentially be doing more harm than good. And at the end results won't even be as good. So that is my suggestion, because it's like all the rage these days to try to get these fast transformations. But yeah, it's really just a tool that we use in the bodybuilding world. And I would say, like, for a non-competitive bodybuilder athlete, or for someone who is newer to the game, meaning you've been training for 6 to 12 months, I would not even consider it. Like I said, you're looking at more of a long-term, slower cut, or maintenance, where you can sort of gain muscle and lose fat at the same time, and both are perfectly reasonable and will yield exceptional results. If you've been training for more than a year and you haven't been dieting for at least 6 months, preferably a year or more, then you can consider doing something like this. That would be my suggestion. As you can see, like, I hadn't cut in 4 years, you know? And even then, I was apprehensive about even doing this quick 8-week in and out cut to begin this year. But it was a strategic move to be able to start a prep in a leaner state later on this year. I'll probably do another one, honestly, in the fall, and then start a prep in December. But then after this whole competition prep is done next year, there will be no cutting for years on end. So I encourage you, you know, like, it's the idea of dieting is exciting, and we constantly want to jump to, like, want to lean out and stuff like that. But I encourage you, when it comes to these tools that we now have at our disposal, and we could even use on our own with all the information out there, to use them wisely. On the whole, you should not be concerned with dieting. You should have as much time in between your dieting phases as possible, and that's going to make them more successful and make you a more successful athlete. Anyhow, if you like this information, feel free to hit the subscribe button, like button, what have you. Let me know what you think about mini cuts, if you've ever tried them, if you have any other questions. Let me know what kind of other things you want me to talk about. I'd love to hear some feedback from you. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.